Hey guys, welcome back to our channel, and today I'm gonna start with diversity in the living world. That is the part 2 of living world. Okay guys, now let's get started. In this first paragraph, if you see the marked ones are the important. Other than that, there is nothing any important contents that you should remember. So each different kind of plant, animal or organism that you see represent a species. Okay, so what is species? Different kind of organisms that we see are said to be species. The number of species that are known and described ranges between 1.7 to 1.8 million. So number of species that is being found now till is 1.7 to 1.8 million. This is referred to as biodiversity, or the number and types of organism present on earth. Okay, biodiversity, that is the different types of organisms that is present on earth. Okay, so species, the number of species is 1.7 to 1.8 million. And what is biodiversity, that you should note in this place. And this paragraph, in the second paragraph, there is nothing important to see it in it. So let's move on to the naming of the living organism, such that a particular organism is known by the same name all over the world. This process is known as nomenclature. So what is nomenclature? Naming of the living organism. Okay, naming of the living organism is said to be the nomenclature. Obviously, nomenclature or the naming is only possible when the organism is described correctly and we note what organism the name is attached to. This is said to be the identification. Okay, first nomenclature and second thing is identification. When the organism is described correctly, describing the organism, okay, next is to find a word or the nomenclature to it properly. So this is to be identification. And in order to facilitate the study, number of scientists have established procedures to assign a scientific name to each known organism. This is acceptable to biologists all over the world. For plants, scientific names are based on agreed principles and criteria which are provided in International Code for Botanical Nomenclature, ICBN. This is very important. Note the abbreviation of it. International Code for Botanical Nomenclature based on agreed principle and criteria. That is, the scientific names are based on the agreed principle and criteria. Okay, in the same way for animals, it is on the International Code of Zoological Nomenclature, ICZN. The scientific names ensure that each organism has only one name. Okay, the scientific name, each organism will have only one scientific name. Okay, they also ensure that such a name has not been used for any other organism. The same name cannot be used for any other organisms. Okay, this also you can also note this. Biologists follow universally accepted principle to provide scientific names to known organisms. Each organism has two components: the generic name and the scientific epithet. Hope you all guys know this. So generic name and scientific specific epithet. This system of providing a name with two components is known as binomial nomenclature. What is a binomial nomenclature? It is a scientific name, giving a scientific name to an organism. That is, the scientific name consists of a generic name as well as a specific epithet. This is said to be a binomial nomenclature. This naming system is given by Carolus Linnaeus. Okay, you can also notice Carolus Linnaeus is being practiced by biologists all over the world. So this is the thing. And the scientific name of mango, for example, the Mangifera indica, and you have, I think you should remember this for getting good marks in your boards. And so Mangifera indica, Mangifera means genus and indica represents the specific epithet. Okay, here you can see Mangifera genus and indica represents the specific epithet. Universal rules of nomenclature, this can be asked in boards. Universal rule of nomenclature. What is the universal rule of nomenclature? Biological names are generally in Latin and written in italics. Okay, so biological names are generally in Latin. Okay, and it is written in italics. They are Latinized or derived from Latin irrespective of their origin. The first word is genus and the second component of the word is specific epithet. Now only we know. I said you, and both the words in a biological name, when handwritten, are separately underlined, okay, and italicized to indicate their Latin origin. This everyone knows, okay. This is very important while writing a scientific name, okay. When you are writing the name in your pen or pencil or in your hand, you should underline it separately, and when you are printing it, it should be in italics to indicate their Latin origin. The first word is genus, which should be in capital. Genus should be in capital, and specific epithet should be starts with small letter. For example, you can see Magnifera indica. Magnifera, the end starts with a capital letter, and indica starts with a small letter. When you are writing it in a pen or pencil or handwritten, it should be underlined separately. Okay, these are the points that is given, and these points are very important for your board exam. It may be asked in your board questions. Classification is the process where anything is grouped into something based upon their easily observable characters. Okay, classification means what? Grouping something based on the observable characters. Okay, this is very important. Sorry. Easily observable character. Classification is the process anything is grouped into something based upon their easily observable characters. You can note this point, classification. And next paragraph. Name of the author appears after the specific epithet, that is at the end of the biological name, and it is written in an abbreviated form. Example, Magnifera indica Linn. That is Linnaeus only give it. So Linn. Okay. Next, the classification. That is here the definition is given. Classification is the process by which anything is grouped into excuse me, convenient categories based on some easily observable characters. Okay. For example, we easily recognize groups such as plants or animals or dogs, cats or insects. The moment we use any of these terms, we associate certain characters with the organism in that group. What image do you see when you think of a dog? Obviously, each one of us see dogs or not cats. So like this, some steps are given here, and hopefully I think there is nothing important in this. And if you move on, the scientific term for these categories is taxa. That is, wait, what am I saying here in this paragraph? What y'all want to know it is, similarly, suppose we were to say mammals, you would of course think of animals with external ears and body hairs. Likewise, in plants, if we try to talk of wheat, the picture in each of your minds will be of wheat plants, not of rice or any other plant. Hence, all these dogs, cats, mammals, wheat, rice, plants, animals, etc. are convenient categories we use to study organisms. So, the scientific term for each category, that is like we are grouping, right? Dogs, cats, cow, buffalo, like this we are grouping certain like rice plants, tobacco, like this we are grouping the plants itself. So, these are said to be the scientific term for these category. The category, scientific name for the category is said to be taxa. Okay. Therefore, animals, mammals, dogs represent taxa at different levels. Okay. See, animals, animal kingdom. Okay. So it is a separate taxa. Mammals, like it will be coming under class or something else. So, and dogs in a similar way. So these all represent different taxa. That is only it is given. Hence, based on characteristics, all living organisms can be classified into different taxa. The process of classification is called as taxonomy. Okay, this you have to note it. Process of classification is called as taxonomy. External and internal structure, along with the structure of cell, process and ecological information of organisms are essential and form the basis of modern taxonomic studies. Okay, the characterization, identification, classification, nomenclature are the process that are the basic of taxonomy. See, this is very important. Characterization. Okay, identification. First we have to characterize what is the characteristic that we have to understand, and identification, classification and nomenclature, that is naming, are the basic for taxonomy. Okay. Characterization, identification, classification, nomenclature. These are the four points that you have to note it. Okay. Then taxonomy is not something new. Human beings have always been interested in knowing more and more about the various kinds of organisms, particularly with reference to their own use. In early days, human beings needed to find sources for their basic needs of food, clothing and shelter. Hence, the earliest classification were based on the uses of various organisms. Excuse me. The earliest classifications were based on the uses of various organisms, so this branch of study was referred to as system. The human beings were since long not only interested in knowing more about different kinds of organisms and their derivatives, but also the relationship among them. The branch of study was referred to as systematics. The word systematics is derived from the Latin word systema, which means systematic arrangement of organism. Linnaeus used Systema Naturae as the title for his publication. See, this you have to underline it. There is the branch of study which is referred to as in the systematics. Systematics is what? Latin word, and systema means systematic arrangement of organisms. Okay, this is the meaning for systematic arrangement of organisms. It was earlier used as in the Systema Naturae by his publication. Okay, the scope of systematics was later enlarged to include identification, nomenclature, and classification. Identification, nomenclature, and classification. The systematics takes into account evolutionary relationship between the organism. That is what am I saying? Systematics is equal to you can note it. Systematics is equal to taxonomy plus evolutionary relationship. So hope you have understood this topic. There is nothing much. See there. Let's recall that. In this topic, what is biodiversity? We are learning the number of species. There is 1.7 to 1.8 million, and the naming of the living organisms is said to be nomenclature and identification, describing correctly an organism, as well as ICBN, ICZN. These are things we are knowing it, and binomial nomenclature. It was given by Carlos Linnaeus. In classification, the definition of classification and the universal rules of nomenclature. There is a naming an organism. What are the 4 rules that we have to follow, and that we are noting it? And Magnifera Indica, that is the example that is used here. And what is taxa? What is taxonomy? Then characterization, identification, classification, and nomenclature are the process that are basic to taxonomy. Okay, that we are noting it. And systematics, it is a Latin word, that is systema, which means systematic arrangement of organisms. Systematics is equal to taxonomy plus evolutionary relationship. So this topic, there is a part 2 of living world, is over. Let's meet in part 3. And if you like the video, please do like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.